Today we are going to be talking about XRPUSDT, and we're picking up from where we left off in regards to what we talked about based on the moves that I was seeing and how I believed we could obviously take advantage of it. Now, I always recommend you guys hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification, and drop us a like, because like with these as I would like to put it, educational or value content, right? So the idea is you're getting value by coming over and watching guys like us. The idea is it's aiming to help you, right? And if you had watched last week's video on XRP and you saw what took place, you would understand why it is important to be subscribed to channels like mine. So if you haven't done so, just do yourself a favor and hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification, and drop us a like, right? That's all you got to do. And then every time I release a video, you'll be one of the first to see it. So with that said and done, we're going to get straight into the business of the day, which is first a brief recap on XRP as to where we left off on the last video that we did and what I'm expecting to take place now. So in the last video that basically I did, right, I was talking about this FVG area up here, price tapping into it. And at the time of the recording, a lot of what is taking place now had not taken place, right? Now, because obviously I spent quite a fair bit of time technical analyzing the markets and doing all of this cool stuff, I'm relatively good at it, right? I'm not even trying to blow my own horn here. I'm relatively good at it, right? So if you had been watching, okay, you would have seen that after that recording came out, a few days after, okay, we had price go into the FVG zone, like I mentioned in the video, okay? And then what happened is we had price close under the highlighted blue area that you can see right here. I'm going to zoom in now, just so you can get a better image of it. So this blue area right here, I talked about what we should do, or what I would do if I got a close under here, right? So the things I talked about in the previous video have all taken place, right? Have all taken place, what we were to do if price was to go up and what we were to do if price was to go down. Now, naturally, price went down, right? So now where price is at this point in time is at the level of the point of control, which is right here. Okay, now for you guys that are absolutely new to this channel, okay, one of the main themes that we use to analyze the markets, actually two. So the oldest one is weekly highs and weekly lows, because that's an effective way to navigate the market. I've now added on an additional indicator to help us with that process, and that is the volume profile. So the volume profile, if you don't know, so for those that know, obviously just bear with me as I just give a really brief introduction into it. So for those that don't know what the volume profile is the volume profile basically what it does is it shows the passive orders in any given market. So whatever market you apply the volume profile to, it will show you the passive orders sitting there, a bit like chart footprint. Right, a bit like chart footprint. Using the two together is super effective, but at the moment on TradingView right now, it's on the next level up, and I'm not prepared to get that because the chart footprint is delayed depending on what I see you're using it on, and it's delayed up to 15 minutes. So in my point of view, it makes no sense, right? So I don't bother with it at all. But however, if you do have an active live chart footprint data as well as volume profile, those two together is an effective tool to use in the market, right? So going past the fact that you might not actually have those systems in place, we're just going to work with what we have at the moment. So with this volume profile, you can actually get it for free in the free version of TradingView. Okay, so it comes in two forms: the anchored volume profile, which is what we're using right now, and the volume profile, and the fixed volume profile, which is where you're able to select a specific area to analyze the data from that location, right? And as I present the video, what you will find is that it's interchangeable. So sometimes I use the fixed range volume profile, sometimes I use the volume profile. It just depends on what I'm trying to convey across, right? So with the volume profile, this is how it works. This area here is considered the high value area of the volume profile, and these are the borders for this area, the high value area, right? So inside here, high value area, these are the borders of the high value area, right? So I normally refer to them in this video as the high side of the high value area. If you ever hear me say that, I'm talking about this area over here. And if you ever hear me say the low side of the high value area, I'm talking about this level right here. Now, in between that, we have the area where most business is being done. And this is being done at the place that is called the point of control. Now, the point of control moves around depending on where you actually select the data from. So with what I've got going on right now, the data point is selected from this area right here. So this high point all the way this way, right? So from here down, this is the data for all of that, okay? Everything past that, we don't see. It's just this area that way. This is the data that we see. And this is the only data that I'm actually concerned with for now. Right now, in this area over here is what we call the low value areas. All right, so this is the area outside of the high value area. They're the low value areas, and this too also is the low value areas. And these horizontal levels that you're seeing right here, so the purple and the blue, okay, these are the passive orders in the market right now, right? So there could be buys or there could be sells, but in those locations we have orders sitting there right now, okay. Now, how I normally use the volume profile is quite simply this, right? My main focus is where are the natural resistance and support levels in any given market. And what I have found through my research and other people, obviously talking about the same thing as well, so it's not just me, but we've kind of come to this conclusion together, right? Not working as a group, but however, when you're researching, you find something, you look into it, it turns out your view was correct. You do more research, you find out other people have the same view as you. So then what you do is you then run with it, right? So different people use volume profile in very different ways. So there isn't one size fits all type of setup, right? It's a setup that works best with you. Now, the setup that I basically use on the volume profile is really simple. I use low value node areas, so areas like this, okay, to determine the natural resistance and support areas in the market. So therefore, I know where to position myself, where not to position myself, alongside of other technical analysis as well. But this helps strengthen my my analysis, right? So, as it stands, on last week, I talked about the FVGs that we found and this low value node area and what to expect if price came into it, right? So what we have is price has now come into this low value node area, closed under the low value area, right? Closed under the low value node, closed under the low value node, right? It's now at point of control, which is right here, okay? And I believe within the coming days, it is going to head all the way down or close to the low side of the high value area, which is this area right here. This is where I think price is going to go to. Okay, right? Now, for those people that are waiting to jump into XRP, right? The logical move to jump in is not to buy right here, okay? It's to wait to see what it does when it gets to this level right here. Because what could happen is XRP could just basically blast through. There is nothing stopping it blasting through, and if it does decide to blast through, because there isn't many passive orders sitting in this area right here, chances are it's actually going to go parabolic red and fly all the way through. At which point I would then naturally readjust the volume profile to see what other data we have sitting in this area that could guide us as to what we need to do in regards to ride it to the upside, right? But as it stands, these are the moves that we're kind of waiting for right now. So XRP is currently sitting at where it's sitting, which is at $2.13. Okay, in my opinion, there is a high probability that I don't think it's actually going to bounce from the point of control. I think it's actually going to come lower, and it's going to come to dead on $2, right? So it's going to come to the $2 levels or just under it. So $1.99, right? Once it gets to that level, that's when we need to see what XRP is going to do. If it decides to bounce and we get a close above $2.06, okay, in my opinion, and bearing in mind I'm not a financial advisor giving you financial advice, I will basically say that there is a high probability that you're going to be getting a strong push to the upside. And once it gets to this area, the high side of the high value area, if it blasts through, we're going to get to the numbers that most of the XRP community are waiting for, which is they want to see price above $3, right? And after $3, they're aiming for $6, right? Most of them are waiting for $6. And I can tell you right now, there's a whole bunch of passive sales sitting at the $6 marker, right? So when it gets to $6, there is a high possibility that we're going to get a lot of reds at that level coming all the way down due to the number of people that are going to be dumping their XRPs, right? So as it stands, my attitude is this, right? We are in a really good position right now to get XRP at a discount. It could go lower, but we need to be patient. So in my mind, I will say it like this: wait for XRP to come into this low value area of the low side of the high value area. Or let me rephrase that. What we want to do is we want to wait for XRP to come to this low value node area, okay, which so happens to be the low side of the high value area, okay, and then we want to wait to see if price is going to bounce from this level and give us a solid close above $2.06. That is what we're waiting for, right? If we get that move, then in my opinion, I would be considering taking long positions in XRP. And in saying that, it's important I say this: I am not a financial advisor giving you financial advice. I'm just, with what I know, this would be the best approach to get into the bag. This is why you should subscribe to my channel, turn on the notification, and drop us a like. Why? Because we're talking about getting you to the bag. We're not talking about random stuff. We're talking about trying to get you to the bag, right? Actively, right? That's what I'm sharing with you, okay? So not only am I explaining to you how to use some of the tools so you can become a better trader, I'm also telling you opportunities when they present itself that you could possibly jump in. Bearing in mind, you are expected to do the work, right? So that's the vibe as it stands right now, okay? XRP is on its way down. And as XRP continues to fly down, we are also getting a bunch of FVGs in this area, okay? So this FVG at the moment hasn't fully formed. So we've got the top side in, but the bottom isn't done yet until we get to tomorrow, right? Because this is a daily candle we're looking at right here. And this daily candle looks like a doji. So if it is a doji, then chances are this is as low as it plans on getting. Okay, so coming close to this low value node area and is going to reject it. But however, be careful because it may come back down again to revisit it. It may come back down to revisit it, so be careful. Hence why the FVG in this area right here is so important, right? So after today, we're going to know what kind of FVG we have, because this is what, 10 in the morning right now. So it's fair to say it's quite easy for XRP to do a massive push to the upside before the end of the day. It can happen. It's not like it cannot happen. It can absolutely happen, right? But if it does not do that, then we can obviously mark out the bearish FVG, which we will get in this area. And we can wait to see if price makes itself to this location, right? And if it does, we can wait to see the bounce over here, right? So with all of that said and done, if you haven't done so, like I keep asking, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification, and drop us a like. This is to help us all get to the bag, right? So make sure you get that done. And I know you find the content useful, especially after watching this one. If you go back and watch the previous video on XRP, you're going to understand that I'm actually telling you the truth here. And I'm actually going above and beyond to deliver to you solid technical analysis. So with all of that said and done, I will see you all on the next one.